Welcome to our webinar, Laser or Rotary, which is best for you? My name is Terry Bristow and I specialize in marketing and have been with Gravotech for over 3 years supporting customers in the signage and engraving markets. Since we are limited on time today, I will answer all possible questions at the end of the presentation. If your question was not answered, please email them to web@us.gravotech.com and you will be receiving a response from one of our representatives. So let's get started. So during this presentation, we will touch on just a few minutes of who we are, then a look into how to improve your bottom line with laser and rotary machines. We'll dive a little bit deeper into laser specifically, and then we're going to take a look at rotary machines so you can compare the two. Okay, so who is Gravotech? Why are we qualified to educate you on laser and rotary engraving machines? Well, whether you know it or not, every day, everywhere, Gravotech is in your life. Since 1938, you can find us in the engraving on your jewelry, the VIN number marked on your car, signs in any office, your child's trophy, a serial number on a medical device, and even implants inside someone's body. How do we do this? Well, Gravotech is built on 3 outstanding brands. Type 3 is our software brand, focusing on 3D artistic CAD/CAM solutions, like designers working on 3D modeling or anything from engine parts to jewelry. Technifor branded products focus on dot peen, scribing, and the latest laser technologies to mark and identify products in the manufacturing sector. And finally, Gravograph products are focused on laser and rotary engraving machines and engraving materials. These are the solutions most people listening today will be interested in. Here are just a few of the 60,000 customers we help around the world in industries from professional engraving and sign makers, automotive transportation, medical and healthcare, to consumer or industrial products. So enough about who we are and why we're qualified. Let's answer the question every sign fabricator wants to know. How do laser and rotary machines improve your bottom line? One of the ways engraving machines can increase your profits is by increasing productivity and the efficiency of your workflow. This improves margins over current processes or outsourcing. They also open the door to new revenue streams, allowing you to offer new products that you never thought were possible to your current customers, capturing more of their spending ability. An example of this are the graphic capabilities for things like point-of-purchase displays and printed media. You also control the delivery and final quality of the products from your company. When you outsource products, deadlines leave no room for error or last-minute changes. Engraving machines give you the ability to capture last-minute requests and demonstrate a new level of flexibility to your customers. So the question is, laser or rotary? Which one to pick is a decision many sign fabricators and engravers struggle with. Let's look at each one so you can have a better idea of what might be best for your company. So there are 4 different types of lasers from Gravotech. We have a CO2, green, hybrid, and fiber. Depending on the model, these lasers are available in Gantry and Galvo styles. Galvo machines are stationary and can be integrated in multiple positions with extremely fast cycle times. A Gantry laser is a bit different as it moves the laser optics along the X and Y axis over top of the material. The Gantry type machines are what most people today will need. The Gantry laser is contained within a safe Class 1 cabinet, allowing it to be used anywhere, even in a storefront. So a CO2 laser is very popular for use with signage materials such as wood, rubber, plastic, leather, and minerals such as glass and ceramic, etc. The CO2 laser is also capable of working with certain plastics and covered metals. There are 6 standard sizes and over 25 power levels in the Gantry version. A green laser is a new innovation from Gravotech. It uses cold marking, which applies minimal heat to the product, which reduces the mechanical stress and distortion to the parts. The green laser can also create extremely small, high-resolution marks with the smallest of sensitive components. Silver, gold, plastic are just a few of the materials that react well with this particular laser. The hybrid is also a new innovation from Gravotech. It can perform contrasted, discrete, deep, surface, and much more. The possible effects with this laser are numerous. The extensive frequency range means that marking can be adapted to each application and pretty much any type of material. The high quality beam is particularly effective on plastics. And lastly, fiber lasers are ideal for deep engraving. The fiber actually works well with a wide variety of products, but extremely well with uncoated metals. Let's discuss more about gantry lasers. You will hear a term called class. This defines the safety level of the laser. Class 1 means the laser energy is completely contained within the cabinet and cannot escape. Class 4 is the opposite end of the scale, where the laser beam is not contained and could bounce off the material and hit something else. We always recommend only experienced laser users use a Class 4 laser. It's just the safe and smart thing to do. Pictured here is the Gravograph LS1000 XP. It is a gantry, large format, Class 1 CO2 laser with Class 4 options. Operator safety is protected with the Class 1 enclosure design. For safety purposes, lasering stops when the cover door is opened. This is a standard feature with our Gravograph lasers, but be careful when shopping as there are lasers in the marketplace that don't have this basic safety feature. It also includes an emergency stop button on the front of the machine for added security. Class 4 operation can be accessed through a unique security code that the owner controls. The Class 4 access allows for oversized materials to pass through the laser and be engraved. So here's a quick video of the Gantry CO2 LS1000 XP engraving and cutting 1-inch thick acrylic to create a football helmet. This is a great example of how you can not only create signs and lettering, but other objects and displays as well. The lens first autofocuses to give the most precise cut. Then it travels along the X and Y axis, releasing the laser energy at the precise moment to create letters, images, designs, etc. You can now start seeing the football helmet design. Now the laser must cut out the design it just engraved. You can see how easily it cuts through 1-inch acrylic like butter. Using the laser to cut the acrylic produces a desirable flame-polished edge. The cut piece falls into the collection tray for easy retrieval. Now we have a beautiful gift or display piece. Not only can you create cool designs with a laser, you can use it to increase your productivity. The lens of the laser can travel over the material up to 157 inches per second. This is very fast movement, saving you time and therefore money. There is also minimum cleanup after using a laser engraver. Since the material is vaporized, it doesn't leave any shavings or excess material to clean. Also, since the only contact with the material is a light beam, materials don't have to be secured in the same ways as rotary engravers require. And we'll discuss this a bit more later on. But with a laser, you can produce large quantities of small pieces in the same batch. If you look at the top right image, you can place multiple color pieces in the laser bed and run multiple jobs without having to load and unload material. Many sign makers need to produce small labels. Gravotech has created a way to make collection of these pieces quick and easy. The LS1000 XP comes standard with fin cutting tables and angled collection drawer. This allows for cut pieces to drop into the drawer and fall towards the middle. It also enhances airflow around the material, creating a better cut as opposed to typical honeycomb tables. Large volume sign shops need to use full sheets of material to make the most of their time and resources. The LS1000 XP has a 48-inch by 24-inch engraving area, which is the exact size of a full sheet of material. There's also an X and Y pass-through that we mentioned that allows oversized materials to be engraved with ease. You can see an example of the front door of the Y-axis in the image to the bottom right. Now let's talk a bit more about saving money in sign production. In order to get the most out of your materials, you need to group letters together, which takes time and experience. Nesting is a term to describe placing letters as close together as possible to minimize material usage. Gravotech's Gravostyle software uses professional nesting. Compared to standard nesting, it is better at maximizing the total use of space in the material. Even smaller letters nest inside larger letters just to use more of the material. You can see standard nesting on the right and professional nesting on the left. The software will even go in and optimize the tool path to cut the internal letter segments first to prevent premature dropouts and minimize production time. Most of you listening today own, manage, or work in a sign shop. However, there are more avenues for your laser than just signage. Diversifying your offerings not only gives you a competitive advantage over your competition, it allows you to stay stable during rough economic times. If signs are slow, you can create intricate specialty design projects that command a premium upcharge and really unleash your creativity. Here you can see some examples of add specialty items such as ceramic tiles, glassware, 3D models, and even engraved cigars, coconuts, and leaves. Your new revenue streams can expand even further. POP displays are a great way to advertise. Cutting printed media for these POP displays will be discussed more in a moment, but industrial asset tags and gaskets, control panels, rating plates, and more create new and repeat revenue opportunities when other markets are slowing down. Control panels and rating plates are usually something that companies order multiple times and order in large batches. When you're down a little bit on some signage and you need to keep your machines running, stock up on your rating plates and your control panels, and that way when your customers are ready to go, they're on the shelf and waiting for them. Not only can new revenue streams be very profitable, you can also expand on your current capabilities. Inlay cutting is a great capability to have. See the letters on the left that are cut and then recessed into the black backer, and it creates an illumination effect. The flame polished A in the center is a nice, beautiful piece. The flame polished edges are created so easily by a laser, and they really just look spectacular. Behind it is an example of a printed or painted substrate for a really good professional office look. And on the right is another example of gift pieces cut from acrylic. For this application, the chessboard and pieces were all created out of acrylic. The chessboard had an extra step to color fill the green spaces. You also have more graphic capabilities than you think with a laser. The possibilities are really only limited to your imagination. You can use lasers to create puzzles, create photographs on metal without the cleanup and chemical disposal concerns of the metal photo process. Even photos, text, and logos can be lasered onto marble, glass, plastic, painted or anodized metals, and wood. The more you experiment with your laser, the more you can really end up creating for your customers. Let's take a deeper look into making a puzzle piece from a photograph. Here you can see we used Gravolace plastic, an LS100 with Gravostyle, and a high contrast image. So the first thing we would do is place the material in the laser. We made sure to use a honeycomb table to enhance the airflow of the laser, allowing for a cleaner cut. We then go to the Gravotech software. This video was made with an older version of Gravotech, but all of the functionalities of this job are the same, if not better. Now you can see the awesome finished piece using only 4 supplies: Gravolace plastic, an LS100 laser, software, and an image. Simple as that. Cutting printed media is another great advantage with the laser. You can precisely cut out shapes, letters, logos, etc. that would have been more difficult with other methods. Let's watch a quick video to show you how simple it is to use a Gravograph machine and the print and cut feature while even using CorelDRAW software. We start by importing the image and design. In this example, we added an image of coffee. Next, we want to add the registration markers to define the cutting path for the laser. Now it's time to print. Be sure you print on laserable material. Now that your piece is printed, place it in the laser machine. Again, we used a honeycomb cutting table for enhanced airflow around the material. Gravostyle can handle this type of project. However, some people prefer to use the software they've grown accustomed to. Gravograph machines won't hinder your business based on the software choice. However, Gravostyle does bring out more features of the laser rather than just what's available in CorelDRAW. After putting the pieces together, you have a wonderful POP display to encourage people to drink coffee. By purchasing a laser, there are a lot of opportunities to make new products and profits, but what size and power laser do you need? This is a very important question and where you probably need to speak with a laser expert at Gravotech to really help you identify the type and quantity of work you're going to be doing. Generally, the answer is to purchase the largest machine with the most power you can. It allows your business to grow into the laser, process jobs faster, and perform work your competitors would normally turn down. When considering the difference in monthly finance payments, having a system that's well suited to your growth needs over the coming 5 years may be the best investment. So some common questions to ask yourself before purchasing a laser are, what are the material types being engraved and what are those same types that are going to be cut? The most common material thickness and the thickest material that you're going to be cutting. You need a list of all the materials that you will be processing, your primary and secondary applications, your future growth potential with the laser, the largest sheet of material you need to process, the largest letter or profile being cut, the available power supply in your shop, and of course, the smallest door opening the laser has to pass through to get into your shop. So let's review what we just discussed about lasers. We began with the multiple types of lasers available, but specifically the lasers geared towards sign makers. Cutting 1-inch acrylic to produce products while also producing a desired flame polish edge. A laser also provides increased productivity, efficiency, and margins. You can expand on current capabilities while taking your graphic offerings to a new level. And let's not forget about controlling the finished product. Choosing the correct laser for you is a difficult decision, and we recommend speaking with a representative to give you a really good idea of what size laser really fits your needs. Now that we've talked about different lasers, let's change a little bit and talk about the different rotary engraving machines. Rotary engraving and cutting is another very popular form of engraving. Rotary engraving is the term used to describe engraving done with a rotating cutting tool in a motorized spindle. The tool, or cutter, cuts into the surface of the material to a predetermined depth and produces a groove of the same shape and dimension of the cutter. Rotary engraving can be performed on a wide variety of materials, including plastic, brass, aluminum, and much more. Rotary engraving can be found in the awards industry, industrial manufacturing, signage manufacturing, and more. Just like lasers, router options depend on the material and volume of production you will do. Options include the table size for the amount of pieces to produce in one time, the engraving head, router attachments, and high-frequency spindles. In most cases, the material must be secured by clamps, tape, or grab-a-grip since there is a moving part making contact with the surface of your material. Routers can typically offer greater flexibility in material processing, but depending on the material being processed, sound levels can be a point of consideration. A laser and rotary expert at Gravotech can really help you identify the best machine based on the material and quantity of work that you will be doing. With a Gravograph rotary machine and Gravotech sign material, one machine can produce your 88 braille signs. When using these, you can typically produce these signs in about 5 steps. One large advantage of having a rotary engraver over a laser is creating this ADA signage. Both methods can cut tactile lettering, but lasers cannot properly drill the braille pockets and insert the braille beads automatically. Let's now go a bit deeper into ADA signage and discuss the 5 steps to produce these signs. The process begins by using 2 pieces of plastic with contrasting colors. In this example, we used white and blue Gravotech. These 2 pieces of plastic must comply with ADA guidelines. These guidelines state that the profile material must be exactly 1/32 thick, while the backer material must be at least 1/16 thick. Adhesive is placed on the profile material and the 2 pieces of plastic are sandwiched together. This completes step number 1. For step 2, it's time to use the routing machine. It can be achieved by either using a rotary or laser engraver. In this step, the operator creates a layout in Gravostyle using a pictogram and text. This layout is then sent to the machine at a precise depth. It cuts out the pictogram and text. In the example, you can see how the profile material line has a cutout. The precise depth is needed so only the profile material is cut. The backer plate should remain intact. Step 3 involves removing or weeding away the 1/32 inch profile material to reveal the final pictogram and letters. Simply peel the profile layer beginning at a corner. The majority of the plastic should easily come off. Special tools may be purchased, such as a weeding tool and cleaning brush, to remove stubborn pieces such as the inside of the letter O, P, R, etc. A tip from the experts: work quickly from steps 1 to 3. By not allowing the adhesive to cure, the two materials separate easily and minimal residue is left over. Step 4, re-enlist the use of the engraving machine to drill the braille pockets to hold the raster beads. At this point, the quality and precision of both the machine and software system are key. This is where Gravotech machines really separate themselves from the competition. Step 5 is when the raster beads are inserted into the freshly drilled braille pockets. This can be done manually or automatically by the engraving machine. For a manufacturer who only makes a few signs a year, manually is the less expensive option. However, automatically can save the high-volume fabricator valuable time and money. In the automatic option, the machine moves directly over the drilled pockets and insert the raster beads itself. Let's watch a quick video about creating ADA signage with a rotary machine. Rotary engravers, not unlike lasers, can expand on your current capabilities. One major difference is the ability to cut metal and PVC plastic. Cutting metal with a laser involves a very high and expensive wattage, while cutting PVC with a laser releases a toxin that is harmful to the laser and the operator. You can also enhance your rotary engraving by enlisting the help of a router attachment. This gives you the ability to do more heavy-duty routing and cutting and provides a really distinctive look some customers prefer. One noticeable difference between rotary and laser engravers that we mentioned earlier is the use of a tool or cutter versus the light beam to engrave the surface. With a rotary engraver, you have more freedom for the type of mark you want to create based on the cutter type. Based on the size letter you want to create, you need to decide what tip size you're looking for with your rotary engraver. Gravotech created this wonderful little cheat sheet for you to help make that decision. And there's a copy of this in our materials catalog if you'd like a copy for yourself. So back to a little bit more about cutters. One of the most traditional and multi-purpose cutters is called the carbide cutter. It's great for plastic, acrylic, phenolic, soft and hard metals, and more. To engrave glass, you would typically use a diamond-tipped cutter. A diamond cutter will tend to be sharper and will break through the glass surface better than a traditional carbide cutter. A carbide cutter really could chip or break the glass. So for more cutters, there's also things called burnishing, high-speed steel, quarter round, parallel, radius, wide angle, and many more. All the cutters from Gravotech actually fit more than just our own machines. We stock cutters in 11/64, 1/8, and 1/4 inch shank sizes to give our customers a variety of options for the multiple types of machines out there. So contact our office to discuss which cutter is right for your next project and machine. Here we have a video of a rotary engraving machine cutting and routing brass into the shape of a grape cluster. A high-frequency spindle was added for some extra strength to prolong the life of the machine. Another benefit of using the rotary engraver for this type of job is the intaglio and prismatic lettering that can be accomplished. Rotary engravers can enhance your daily workflow. In this application, the oversized wooden piece needs to be engraved and painted. The IS900, which is used here, has an engraving window of 17 inches by 25 inches. By using the Gravistyle's long plate option, we were able to produce a continuous sign that's about 6 feet long. The long plate multifunction allows the engraver to work in precise sections and then continue the design with a smooth transition. Here we have another example of oversized materials being used in a rotary engraver. This particular application was on a memorial or dedication wall. The rotary engraver was the preferred method to facilitate pencil rub mementos by the visitors of the memorial site. Dedication walls can be used in all sorts of places, from churches and universities to art centers, hospitals, zoos, and more. Like we discussed, creating signage can be in many different forms, from ADA signs to memorial walls. There are also so many other items that can be produced using a rotary engraver. Personalizing products is an ever-growing trend. The capability to engrave items on demand for a customer gives them instant gratification and makes them want to return and shop again. Popular engraved items include gifts, awards, funeral urns, pet memorials, and even hand-drawn images using the Dedicus accessory like you can see here for the keychain. To summarize what we discussed about rotary engravers, they're great for ADA sign fabrication, allowing the entire process to be completed on one machine. The ability to cut metal and PVC materials, the numerous cutter or tool options, enhanced workflow, long plate functionalities, and of course, new revenue streams. So with that, let's open it up to some questions. I see a good one here. It says, can you tell us again the suggestion for flame polishing an acrylic edge? Sure. The flame polished edge can be achieved in a few different ways. The first way is to cut the acrylic with a laser to automatically get the polished edge with no excess work. If you don't have a laser powerful enough to cut the thick acrylic, one of the simplest ways is to go to the hardware store and purchase a MAP gas torch. You can also use helium gas, but you use this to polish the edges by hand. It will require some practice, so start with some scrap pieces of acrylic until you develop the proper rhythm and speed to not melt the plastic or your fingers. We have another question here from Dave. Does the laser leave burn marks? So Dave, it really all depends on the material and the laser settings. By overheating the product, it can leave burn marks. Also, if the laser cabinet or enclosure is not properly ventilated, it can cause burn marks. Sometimes materials just don't lend themselves to be laser cut. For example, Lexan. It will always leave a tan or brown mark when it's cut because of the nature of the material, whereas acrylic can be cut with a really nice clean edge. Lexan, however, can be engraved without leaving a mark. It's just when you try and cut the material with a laser. So you really need to experiment with your laser before working with new material. Everything is a little different, so some trial and error is really to be expected. Another great question I see here is how can you decorate a tile with color? So tile can be decorated in three main ways. One way is by the final glaze placed on the tile during the manufacturing process. The glaze reacts to the laser energy, turning a specific color, and that bonds to the tile surface. Another way is to add a coating to the tile after it's manufactured to react with the laser energy, turning a specific color. The last way is to etch the product first and then add a colorant to the recessed areas. This way you can add multiple colors, but it will of course take a bit more labor by probably a skilled worker. If you contact our office, we can give you a bit more information on where to source these kinds of products. So the next question I see here is, I have glassware I'd like to engrave. What is the best solution for that? That's a great question. I would say it really depends on the style that you're looking for. A laser leaves a frosted white mark, while a rotary machine leaves a vintage etched look. Each machine type can be connected with a cylindrical attachment by a simple cord, making changing applications really quick and simple with either version. So the last question we're going to have time for today is asking if it is difficult to learn Gravostyle software. So the answer to that is everyone is a bit different when it comes to learning new software programs, but Gravostyle really caters to the novice and the professional user. We post our videos on a YouTube page that has tutorials for lots of different applications, but honestly the best solution if you're not very software inclined is to get a training session from someone at Gravotech. We can tailor the training session to exactly what you need based on the needs of your business. Gravostyle itself also has a very wonderful help function. Each icon has a question mark that can be clicked, and if you click it, it takes you to the exact information about that particular function. It's very, very useful. Thank you all for your time today. If I didn't answer your question, please email it to web@us.gravotech.com and it will be answered by one of our engraving experts. If you would like to set up a personal demo for one of our machines, our representatives will be happy to schedule something for you. Gravotech really prides themselves on being the one-stop shop for engravers where you can purchase machines, materials, supplies, and training. All of our products are made by engravers for engravers. So be sure to visit our new website, www.gravotech.us. Thanks again for your time and have a great day.